To see you.
Yeah, that's study. This was thinking of Okay, I've got 6:30, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to Park Township Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Monday, December 1, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order, and we have our agendas in front of us this evening, so I guess I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I have one correction. Number
You do?
8 shows that the next name is correct. 6.
Oh, she corrected it.
Oh.
There's a corrected
Sorry.
one up there. Yeah.
There's a corrected version at the door. So it should say, the corrected version should say what?
Monday, January 5th.
January 5. Okay. Okay, so we've got a motion to approve the agenda
As corrected.
corrected.
Yes.
Support.
All right, motion and support. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, agenda is approved. And our next item is to discuss, if we need to, the minutes from November 3, 2025. Those were in our packets as well. And I looked it over. I did not see anything on my end. I don't know if anybody else did.
Motion to approve as distributed.
I'll support that. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, we've got approval of our minutes for November 3, 2025 as presented. Which brings us to our next item on the agenda, public hearing number 1. Is that something, Lorna, you can introduce us to?
Yes, I can. This is a request to replace an existing non-conforming accessory building. The variance requests are for a side yard setback of 5.4 feet where 25 feet is required, and a height variance request of 24 feet where 22 feet is permitted. So the property, it is a non-conforming property. Its width is about 17 feet less than what's required by the zoning district, and many of the surrounding parcels are non-conforming as well. Additional constraints include there's a septic field to the west and then a shared driveway with the neighbors to the north. And the application follows 2 sets of standards, which are the setback variance request, the non-use variance standards for that from section 38-70. And then the height variance request follows the standards for accessory buildings, which is from section 38-491.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here this evening? You're welcome to come to the podium and provide any more information to us as you desire. So open it up to you.
My name is Brian Seitzman with Seitzman Construction on behalf of Joe and Deb Bennett. I received the email in response discussing the standards, and I really don't have a lot to add to it. If you have any questions I can answer, I will for sure.
Okay. All right. Will you take a seat? If we have something, we'll ask you a question if you could approach it when we do ask.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you. All right. This time I'll open it up for the public for anyone in support or denial of, or if anyone's against this, if you could approach, if you got anything to say about this particular item, you're welcome to do it at this point. All right, seeing none, I'll close public comment time for this item and open it up for board discussion. So that,
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to note for the record that we did receive one email in support of this application.
we did, yes. And everybody got a copy of that. So we got two standards to review, as Lorna outlined, right, for our setback and for building height. I think it probably makes sense that we review the setback first. .4 feet where 25 feet is required.
May I approach to discuss a couple things, or? Cause I'm wondering if
Go ahead, just, yeah, approach if you don't mind, please.
I just wanted to make sure my understanding is that you understand the position of this existing structure and its size. I'm hoping that I was really clear on that. The size of the current structure is 43 feet east-west. The new one we're proposing is 40. And the reason we went a little bit wider is to get some usable square footage without encumbering or redoing an entire septic field to the east and the drain field tanks to the west northwest. So the building got a little bit wider north-south, which to match the structure of the new home up the hill to the west of it with the 12-12 roof pitch, by going 27 feet wide north-south, that's where that height elevation exceeded by 2 feet. The 27 feet, trying to keep the northerly line of the new structure south of the drive that comes down from the new home, is one of the biggest hurdles there, because if we abided by the zoning ordinance, we would push the new structure 20 feet further +4 on the width north-south, which would be virtually into that driveway, which would be a hazard because it's a steep incline going from the accessory building elevation up to the house garage. There's an 8-foot incline there, or an 8-foot elevation change in about 45 feet. So we also believe it's a risk, it's kind of a danger to have that pushed to the north and have cars coming down that drive right next to that structure. Plus, and I tried to describe the environmental impact of tearing out the septic system and the drain fields, and there's underground power lines that serve that neighborhood yet from a long time ago that also run between the current accessory building and the home.
Okay, so appreciate the clarity. Thank you. All right, do we have any questions for the applicant? We've got the plans here showing kind of what the intent is of the structure. You can kind of see it in their diagrams provided, but and just to confirm, I guess, with the applicant really quick, the 5.4 feet that we're talking about is an existing condition. with the existing structure. That's what they're maintaining.
Yes, and we looked into renovating the existing structure. It would virtually need to come down. The headroom in there is about 6'8" in spots. And the foundation under it is from the 40s, is not even remotely close to code. So to renovate it would be virtually impossible to do it in a good way. And the zoning ordinance allows them upwards of almost 1,500 square feet on that size property. And we're only asking for 1,080.
And the 12-foot pitch on the roof is matching the home.
Yeah, it matches the gable, the east gable end of the new attached garage. So the two will, you'll see the existing home gable up here and the accessory building right here. So they'll match, it'll be in keeping, it'll look really nice.
Your drawing shows a 5'2" to the west of the 5'4" that's circled.
Sorry, which,
On your drawing. 5'4" is circled here on the southeast corner, right?
Yep.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're right.
And then there's a 5'2" just to the west of that. So is the current building the southwest corner at 5'2"?
it might be, but we're gonna go with the 5'4".
And that's just what I wanted
It
to.
might be 5'6". I mean.
Okay,
We just can't go to the 25.
okay. I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
so that we don't run into something like.
No, that's a good point. The current structure is on a slight angle to the property
Okay.
line. So when we apply for it, we would have it drawn where it's probably 5'6", just it's an even number.
Okay.
But we won't go near the 5'2". Won't be less than 5'4" for sure, but most likely it'll be 5'6".
Gotcha. Okay.
And what are the utilities that you're planning for the structure? Utilities?
Just electric and gas at this point.
Okay.
It's probably all that will be.
Yeah, because that would be one of the topics that we would probably end up discussing here is what utilities, are going to be permissible, right? Just for future use and adaptability. We try to avoid the use of it being anything else but a garage.
Yeah, accessory building, art studio. I mean, there might be some play and entertaining in there for kids, but. Right now, the current structure has like 5 stables in it yet from when it was actually a carriage house.
Okay.
You?
Yep. Harder than the party for 50.
The his and hers car.
Okay, so if we're looking at the speaking to the board here, we've got for setback variance discussion, we have 4 standards to review under 3870.
I agree with the staff comments on standard one regarding strict compliance with the zoning ordinance. Given that the property is already non-conforming. Shared driveway, location of the septic and drain field, the electrical main. All of those impediments to construction. The grade change, I agree with staff that that would render compliance, strict compliance with the zoning ordinance unnecessarily burdensome.
That's the one.
Okay. If we want to go through the factors individually and see if we
Yeah, I was just curious if any of them
consensus.
were things that we're not gonna be able to agree on, is all.
Yeah.
I think that's really. Um. I think we always run into number 4 for the practical difficulties alleged not being self-created, but to some extent, you know, they gotta be functional, but. Placing themselves in the hardship. They went out of the building, right? I would say that 3 has validity, and I'd agree with staff comments on number 3. You know, there's unique circumstances with the septic field, the driveway, just to be able to access the property, and how it's, you know, restrained so many ways. There's no other location really for it to go.
Part of the encumbrance that the septic system creates is the location of the well to the northeast. The well has to have 50 feet of isolation from the drain field, and on the 89-foot lot, it gets a little bit tricky. So the well is across the driveway to the northeast, and the septic is on the south edge, just east of the accessory building, with the tanks to the west side of the accessory building.
Okay, yeah, I can see that sketched in here on your drawing, the 2 tanks there.
So if we had to move the septic system east, we'd end up having to put in a well too. So it just keeps getting more
Where's the well located?
northeast of the accessory building across the driveway.
Is it? It's not indicated on the drawings.
Might not be.
Yeah. Maybe here. Yeah. So the second factor that stems from the first, I guess if we're going in order, they're related. Based on the circumstances of the lot, also taking into consideration that there are several non-conforming lots in this area. That there was an existing structure in this location. So it appears to be the least burdensome option to remove the existing structure and place the new structure in the same location without disrupting these other improvements that we're talking about today. Um. Do we have a consensus on factor number two? Any concerns about factor number two?
No concerns from me. I feel. I feel like I agree with staff comments. It's kind of what I said for number three in a way. That they're kind of locked in here. And staff comments talk about logical alternatives. There are few of them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my point on number three a little bit.
Well, and I think it's
Shape.
important on number three to recognize that although there are several non-conforming lots, that's not a general characteristic of the zoning district in and of itself. So that doesn't prevent us from finding that number three is satisfied.
Mhm.
That the concerns stated by the applicant and their rationale for seeking the variance are due to the unique circumstances of the property. This brings us to the final factor,
Mhm.
whether the practical difficulties alleged are self-created. And I know that in the report where the applicant's comments are summarized, it talks about height in here, but I don't think we don't really consider the height when we're looking at a self-created, whether it's a self-created issue.
No, not really. It's interesting when you bring up any of these applications because in a sense, doing anything is creating it. And since it can't mean that, then I would say that would be excluded from that.
But with regard to the setback, whether the practical difficulties that are alleged are self-created, these are long existing nonconformities,
Mhm.
improvements, and impediments. Indicates that the non-conforming setback existed before the applicants owned the property, so those were not the result of any of their actions.
It's a pretty similar characteristic that all these wooded area. I don't know what the adjacent property looks like to the south of you. And how that existing garage is in relationship to any other structures.
The other home to the south is quite a bit further west.
Yeah, so there's nothing that this thing is imposing on from the neighbor to the south, I guess is what I was getting at.
No, there's really nothing there. And
The lot right next to us.
To the south.
Just has a bathhouse, guest house kind of thing. It's a 50-foot lot, but it never had a full cottage on it. And so then our neighbor next to them bought that and made the bathhouse a little guest house. But you do have 50 feet between us that is just an old driveway. Down by the accessory building.
I found the septic permit updated when we did the new home. I could show, you could look at that. It shows the well location to the northeast if any of you'd like to see it.
Sure, yeah, I'd like to see it.
So we did the existing for the new home. It's up here.
Yep.
They required this septic system field to get bigger by about 200 square feet.
Okay.
This was the existing well out over here needing 50 feet of isolation. So this is the south property line.
Yep.
Here's the existing structure.
Yep.
Here's the septic field. Here's the drain field tanks. The what would be from northwest. The drive is right next to those tanks.
Yep.
So that well location is right there.
So about here.
Yeah, about the north somewhere. Yes. I apologize for not putting that on.
I'm with you.
So that stays the same. Accessory building. It's a new drain field, but it's size indicates.
Yep, no, appreciate that. Thanks for sharing.
The neighbors to the south, to your point, they are the ones who sent the email in
Yep.
support.
That's what I was.
So I just cross-checked the addresses. They also state in their email that they're directly to the south, so they have no objection.
Okay. Guess also I'm interested, I mean, the applicant noted, made some comments too, that was in the staff memo about the size of the area of this is well under the allowable, so it's not like we're, you know, requesting the world on size,
Right.
which, you know, we do see a lot of and more. So, you know, appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion if you're willing to entertain
I'm
one.
willing to absolutely entertain. Yep.
Okay. I would move that we approve the setback variance request of 5 feet, 5.4 feet where 25 feet is required. I would propose to adopt as our findings the staff comments with regard to the standards we reviewed in section 38-70. And I would add as conditions that this not be used for residential dwelling purposes and that the utilities be limited to electric and gas.
Support.
Support.
Okay.
Roll call.
Yeah. Based on that, yeah, roll call, Lorna?
Mr. Eid,
Yes.
Ms. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Cerny,
Yes.
Ms. Payne Nayak,
Yes.
Mr. Fleece.
Yes. Okay, so you've got your setback variance. Now it's time to talk about the height. So we'll move on to accessory building height for standards 38-491 of the ordinance. So we're asking for 2 additional feet. 24 feet where 22 is required. First permitted. And this is basically we're matching, it sounds like matching the slopes to be in agreement with the primary structure. Given the width of this is kind of what it yields.
Right,
Right, so.
because we couldn't go bigger east-west. We went a little bit bigger to the north,
Yeah,
which increases its width, which means the pitch goes up a little bit.
mm-hmm. Hard to tell. I mean, you've got overhangs on it, but they don't look from the drawing like they're, you know, radical.
No, they were just 2 feet. But again, with that structure foot or the base of the accessory building being over 8 feet lower than the garage floor on the attached, it fits well.
Right. No, I get it, but just purely based on the side or the height of the
Right.
peak. It's just a fundamental part of what happens when your overhangs get too wide, right? It gets even taller, so. But nothing egregious, that's all.
Well, and it's, yeah,
Pretty minimal.
yeah.
And there's a big topography, like you're saying, the topography is so great, it's. What is the climb here from like elevation of garage to elevation of house, do you know? See
And
that,
let me find the topo.
okay,
I believe we had that. I know I have it on what I just showed you too. I can get that back out. That has it from Excel Engineering.
not I guess it's not that important, but I mean. I mean, just based on what we're seeing in our staff report here, there's.
So I have it right here. I've got to count these lines a minute. According to this topographical, I am about 6. Shoot. 1 second, and I just moved. The grade at the current is 635.53. And the grade at the attached garage is about 652. So it's better than 8 feet. I can show you if you like.
It's significantly different, yeah. It's sure. I think. He said 635. There's 635, yeah, about right there.
And that would be right up in here. And you could say 653, 652.
Yeah.
So it's way better than 8 feet
Oh, yeah.
conservatively.
It's like 17 feet.
Yeah, 17 feet.
Certainly relevant to the second factor we're supposed to look at. The height in relation to the principal building.
Yeah, so on this approval standard, we need to look at 5 items. That's number 2 that you're speaking of, Ms. Morgan. I agree. In agreement too.
The first factor says the height of the accessory building in relation to the size of the lot. And then. Is there, that just sounds strange to me.
That's all we got.
Really?
Maybe if it's towering in comparison to the size of the lot,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we don't have like we would with a lot coverage
We don't have
percentage or
anything like that,
anything.
no.
Any concrete
No,
factor to apply
we
there.
don't.
Yeah, okay. Well, going back to our previous discussion about the size, it's clearly smaller than what would be permitted.
Right.
And the 2 feet, given the change in topography, the distance from the other structures. I would agree that the first standard can easily be met there. The height in relation to the size of the lot.
Yeah,
And then in relation to the principal building, we were just talking about the 17 feet approximate change in grade. Designed to mimic the home. That appears that in relation to the principal building, that would be a reasonable request.
agreed.
And next, to look at the location of the accessory building in relation to buildings on other lots and the principal building. Staff's provided us with some measurements, 40 feet from the residential structure, where 10 is required. A neighboring residential structure, 70 feet from the proposed structure. So that all seems to be well in excess of types of setbacks we would be looking at there.
Mhm.
Whether or not it would affect light and air circulation of any adjoining property. And again, in light of those existing setbacks and just how the lots are configured, doesn't appear that there would be any concerns presented regarding light and air circulation. Would agree with staff's comments on
Yeah.
that one.
I agree.
And then I guess the same comment as to the final factor, whether it would adversely affect adjoining property or view from adjoining property. Does not appear there would any evidence in the record that it would negatively impact anyone's view.
Also agree with that. I don't know if anyone has any opposition to any of those, but just trying to get a consensus. It feels like we're on board with staff as well. So I'd entertain a motion. If
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the request for a 2-foot increase in height. 24 feet where 22 is permitted. And I would move to adopt as our findings the staff comments under the standards in section 38-491.
all right, Laura, roll call.
Any support?
Was there support?
Oh, do we have, sorry, I support.
Right,
We've got our support.
perfect. Mr. Eid,
Yes.
Ms. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Cerny,
Yes.
Ms. Payne Nayak,
Yes.
Mr. Fleece.
Yes. All right,
Thank you very much.
passes.
One thing, I've done quite a few of these for different clients over the years. And one thing you may want to consider is there's never been a ratio established for width versus length on an accessory building. That could be a danger to you, because somebody could come in and build a 15-foot deep, 60 feet long. That would not be something you would want.
Well, I think that's part when we talk about areas, so long as you're complying with your area requirements.
Right.
If it exceeds it, then I think we got a problem.
Well,
Have to start.
yeah, it's like a real gray area. I've seen it before where people have proposed really awkward structures.
Mhm.
It's like, really don't want that either.
Yeah,
But
right.
thank you very much.
Appreciate your feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I clarify, did you say my neighbor to the south sent the email in support? Yes.
That's what the email states.
Yeah, thank you. God bless her.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful lady. 20-year-old retired professor and she's a sweetheart. So I didn't ask her to do that. I just told her what we were doing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us to our hearing item number 2. Lorna, could you start us off on that? Introduce us?
Absolutely. So this is a request for a home addition. They're requesting a side yard setback of 8 feet where 10 feet is required and a rear yard setback of 46 feet where 50 feet is required. It's a non-conforming parcel. It is 13,500 square feet where 15,000 square feet is required by the zoning district. It also has a FEMA designated special flood hazard area that cuts diagonally across the property, which limits the possible locations for an addition. The site plan that was presented today was also approved by Eagle already. Both setback variance requests follow the non-use variance standards from section 38-70.
Okay, you said the application that we have is approved by Eagle for what it is. Okay, okay. If the applicant is here tonight, if there's anything additional you'd like to add, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah, we have a 1.5 and a 3-year-old, and we have a 2-bedroom house. So that wetlands that cuts in a diagonal through our property, that's the last buildable area that we have really. So the house is kind of on an angle, as you can see on the lot. So we're just trying to follow the edge of our house, you know, rather than have to bump it in 2 feet and then start. And with an addition like that, you know, talking with the builder, we're trying to do a bathroom, bedroom for ourselves off the back so the kids can be on the front. And he's just like, if you can't get at least this much, there's no reason in really doing it. You won't have enough room for a bathroom or a closet, or so that does make quite a big difference for what we're trying to do. So.
Because you did investigate at least the rear yard setback.
Yeah.
To be 4 foot less, and that doesn't, you're saying it wouldn't work?
Right, because to do that, if we would have 4 foot, you know, the 4 foot cut off, that pretty much eliminates either the closet or bathroom for, you know, the rear of our house. And the way our house is set up now for the master, if you call it that, you walk through a walk-in closet, so we'd be walking through our kid's bedroom to use the bathroom at night. So it's 2 little kids and 2 bedrooms has been a challenge at the least. So, and we love our area. I mean, we love the spot. My brother's our neighbor, you know, so it'd all be really nice if we could do that, but we need more room to stay, that's for sure.
Okay. Do we have questions? Any additional questions for the applicant while we have them? And if not, we'll call you back up when we do. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, at this time we'll open up for public comment. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak on this item, ask that you do so right now. And seeing no participants, I'll close public comment time and open it back up here for for board discussion. So the way I understand this is that it looks like the existing deck that's in place is to be simply taken over by the addition, right? And then it also looks like a new deck is being built.
We're actually just gonna move the deck that we currently have to that location.
You're gonna move it.
Yeah, we're gonna, obviously take it all apart and reconstruct.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so that gets moved, rotated, and fit into the rest of the structure there. And because of that continuation of that house line, it starts to narrow itself to just under 9 feet. Where existing wise, it was compliant at 10 feet. Did you invest, sorry, if I have you approach one more time here. So I know that Def, we just kind of spoke about what if on the side, was there some discussion ever to talk about offsetting that line instead of continuing it with the house?
Yeah, and basically it comes down to 2 things. You lose a little bit of square footage and it's more money. You know, to make another turn and it complicates things. You know, squares are simpler to do, and we would like as much square footage as we can. I mean, as you heard, it's a 1,300 square foot house. It's pretty small, and we're hoping for the downstairs to be an open area for the kids and just have as much as we can get out of it, to be honest, you know, that.
Okay,
And I fought with Eagle and them as much as I possibly could. I went round and round and round and hired Peterson Environmental to come out, and
yeah,
they did, you know, I already paid them a bunch of money to do what they did to get what we have. And we've
Right.
gone back and forth, I think 3 times with them to at least get this much area out of it. So
but this was the maximum Eagle would allow you.
that's
What we
it.
see here.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right, so. Okay, we're using the same standards here for both the side and the rear yard. That's 38-7 to talk through this, so. Okay, if we get more questions, we can have you come back. Appreciate it. Thank you. Guess I did not open this online as a PDF or anything to study it closer, but the figure 4 that's on our staff report here with the addition and deck colored in, rendered there, blue and green. There's also like a magenta purple line. Is that? That's the boundary.
Yeah, same one I had, the projection one was the wetland boundary, yes.
Okay. So that's the low lying area that's wet all the time.
Tried it, it's a ditch that has leaves in it, to be honest, but there's never been water in it, but it is what it is.
What's the green rectangle off to the side there detached from it all? That looks as a bridge?
I need to pull up that photo. I haven't.
Yes, that's just so we can access our backyard.
Okay.
Yep.
But Eagle would allow that deck to be in that
Yes.
zone?
120 square foot overhang
Into
of the wetlands, and that deck conforms to, that's
Yes,
the maximum allowed.
Okay,
that right there was all approved, and the only thing they really fought us on, which we couldn't win, was I wanted my deck stairs to go over the wetlands into my backyard. And that's why there's a bridge on there, because they won't let me cross the wetlands, so I have to go down and then make a bridge around this.
Gotcha.
It's my entire lot at an angle, so you have to get through the ditch somehow.
Yep. Got it. All right.
Would they have allowed 120 square foot addition in that area if it also didn't include a lower level?
No. We tried that too, and they only allow the deck because we're just impeding with posts. I don't know if they would have allowed just posts down to that, I guess, but with a forward wall or anything like that, no. But a big part of the addition is a family room, downstairs too. A bedroom up top and a family room down below, because we don't have much of a kitchen, living rooms. It's very cramped there.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are in the corner there.
Very well. Thanks for the additional clarity.
Yeah.
Mika or have we had past items? I want to say similar to this, but not so because of maybe Eagle or something, but just based on the setback variances, right? Which we have here. Just throw out Eagle for a second. But don't we have circumstances where there's a deck that wants to be an enclosed space now on past items that we've heard.
Where there's a deck that wants to be, say that again, I'm not sure
There's an
about that.
existing deck that wants to, the applicant wants to do exactly what we're talking about here, put an addition in its place,
Mhm,
in kind. Where the perimeter is.
mhm.
So, the argument is always like, how's the deck different than the addition,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit when we redid the deck ordinance recently in planning commission. And talked about how there's a lot more visual weight to a structure once you have the enclosed space. And once you have that covered element to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've already got a structure there, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, we had something recently where we talked to an applicant, it was a very small deck. They wanted to put a roof over it basically to cover
Yeah,
it.
In Wakazu Woods, that was a recent one, and
it was.
it was denied, and I kind of struggle with this one, trying to distinguish this. Because that's exactly what they wanted to do, is take an existing deck and enclose it, essentially as an addition.
I think the difference that I see in this one is the wetlands on the property that are limiting the area that's able to be used on it. You have that, you're gonna have that to a certain extent on any property, when you have property lines and whatnot, but you're not able to go in certain directions because you've got that natural contour, you've got that element that's limiting where you're able to build. And I wasn't, I didn't read all of this stuff as far as this particular Eagle approval goes, but typically it is a lot easier for them to approve something that is just the posts going into the ground as opposed to, the full structure over there. So the actual area that's buildable on the parcel is going to be smaller. So whether that merits, whatever these particular setbacks are, that's kind of the question, but there are fewer options.
Yeah. Yes,
It's just hard for me to distinguish how we would justify making a different decision on the next person who comes in and wants to enclose their existing deck and says, well, there's nowhere else to put an addition. I don't know how that's different.
well, I'm thinking about, maybe it is Wakazu Woods where I was thinking about that roof. I forget now, but I feel like, because of the deck. The ordinance is being much more relaxed for a deck to be into your setback, right?
Yeah, so it used to be that the deck had to have the same setback as the primary structure, and yeah, we changed that so that it's easier now, yeah.
So.
Because the HOA.
Right.
And so they needed a setback variance or requested one because there was nowhere they could put an enclosed something essentially.
Right.
Under the zoning purpose. So they had a limiting characteristic different than this characteristic, but ultimately wanted to do the same thing.
Right.
I guess my only other thing that we talked about, up
Can
front.
you approach? Sorry.
Sorry.
The only other thing we did talk about, if this helps, but it's another costly thing to do, is my brother's the next door neighbor and would move the lot line is what we talked about. So we would have I buy 1.5 feet from him and essentially move the lot line over because he has more than 15 feet from the edge of his house to the lot line. But it's another survey. It's another, it is what it is, but it's another survey. I don't know how to do all of that, but I know it can be done possibly. I don't know.
And that's all fine. I mean, it's just, it's a matter of what happens beyond your time with the house, right?
Right.
And what we have to consider too, not just our moment right now. Yep. Which stinks. I get it.
Yep.
But yeah, we're kind of bound by that here.
Yeah, and I don't know if this whole story was this. I bought this lot as a single family buildable home. I cleared it myself. I started, staked out where my house was going to be. And then at the time, it was the DEQ showed up and staked off the whole lot and said, you're done. So that was hurdle number one when we first built the house 4 or 5 years ago. Then we stopped, it took a year, we had to redraw it up, we built what we could, you know, on this half section of what we were going to build there. So it is what it is, but you know, buying a lot and I can't, it's not on you guys and I understand that now, but we came here and we're like, what's the deal with this? And it said single family buildable home. And I was like, sweet, I bought it. And then we got ready to go and then it kind of all, you know, it fell apart, but I know and now I know very clearly that's two very separate things that I should have done my research on. You know, I bought it from the neighbor and all that, but yeah, if I had my way, it would be all in the perfect area and the way back of it, yeah, not up by Ottawa Beach Road, you know, so.
Right.
Okay.
I get you. Yeah. Thank you.
So, question. You were saying, you know, like enclosing a deck and this project is with a basement and an upper. How are those two, and what are you thinking in terms of the similarity closing it in?
Well, I'm just, anytime someone wants to impose a deck, it's very striking. So regardless of it, whether it's 1 story, 2 stories, building some, so for this I'm breaking or I should say rest of the story, so.
Yeah. And follow it.
Yeah.
Let's sure.
So this obviously isn't closing a deck, it's removing an addition, but the context. Trying to preserve the existing deck location, to me that those are similar. Yeah, I didn't even suggest that they were trying to.
No, I was trying to understand how those are, you know, similar, because I don't have experience with.
I think that where I'm getting, where I'm has to have hesitation on this one is. When we had applicants who want to take an existing deck. And turn it into an additional section. Tonight. There's one reason.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they have some limitations on their property as well. And so now we're seeing something similar, in my opinion. Understandably wanting to maximize the lot and marginal home, I think that. Pause because it raised the precedent, but I'm not sure how we would. Be able to avoid it.
And how, I'm not sure how to articulate this, but my question is when it's been heard by people. Like, what are we supposed to consider, or are we supposed to consider that, or maybe. Since they've done their due diligence of looking at. It's not relevant.
Legal is very stringent requirements. Process, so it's our consideration around that. So we'll go through the same thing.
That's relevant to their standards, not the not Park Township ordinances, right?
Yeah.
Necessarily. So they're just trying to look out for the environmental impacts and stress and things like that it may cause. As a result. That's what their focus primarily is, the way I understand it.
It's kind of interesting in that.
Yeah.
Eagle can't authorize them to do something that the township says they can't do, and we at least said they can do something that Eagle says they can't do, that, you know, either one.
Yeah.
Either one overrides the other, but it is helpful to know, like, what Eagle's.
But to the applicant's point, man, there's multiple hurdles being taken, right? And that's one hurdle out of the way. Here's the next one, and then we kind of see where it lands together, and that's what can happen, right? So they've got their restrictions from that review, and now it's restrictions from our review. See where they overlap, essentially.
Right, and side yards of it.
Yeah, especially with the topography and Eagle's restrictions on it, it's likely never ever gonna move from that point forward. This would be it. It's the site for me too. I feel like that's the more difficult item of the two, I guess we have, right? I mean, is the applicant, I mean, I know we just talked about it a little bit, but would you entertain a lesser or more relaxed condition here to move that thing over a foot?
So I think I'd have to look, I don't have it in front of me, but I think we are asking for 2 feet or what was,
I think it's 1.4 that will officially be, I think they rounded up, it's 1.4. And in the very back corner.
yeah, and yeah,
Right.
yeah, obviously it's on an angle, so it gets worse if you go, but in that very, very back,
Yep.
the actual drawing will only be 1.4 feet into the side.
Most.
So it would be, it would be
Right.
less than that. That it would be exactly what 10 foot at the back corner existing, going to a 1.4 feet in that back corner. So if we could do it, I don't know. Yeah, yes, I didn't do anything you give me, obviously. But, well, if we could do 1.4, we could square the house off, and that would be awesome. I was just doing 2 to make sure we were covered on whatever else we needed. If that would help in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I just don't know what the consensus is here amongst the group is all I'm wondering, I'm just curious.
And there is a discrepancy on the lot line versus that, so I got a survey when we first built it. And we thought maybe that it would have been, we first drew it up, it was supposed to still be 10 feet at the end. But you look at the GIS and everything like that, it doesn't come out like that. So the house was built a little crooked. The lot line that we had when we went off when we first built wasn't correct. So
I see.
in a perfect world, everything would be perfectly straight with that lot line. So, yeah.
Your survey though, that's what you're going off of when now you're saying 1.4 feet,
Yes.
not off of GIS or.
That's off the survey.
Okay.
I was gonna pay for another one. Hopefully it was gonna, it doesn't. So the stakes are clearly there and I ran a string line, so it is what it is.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we start with the rear yard. Or does it make sense that we kind of do each one of these as we move? I guess I'm kind of looking for some thoughts here is how do we approach this if we do it just rear yard and then focus on side yard, or can we do both together? That's kind of where my next thoughts are going. With each one of these standards. We've got 4 of them. The first one being the strict compliance zone ordinance regulating the minimum area or setbacks, frontage height, bulk density, or other regulation would render conformity with those restrictions unnecessarily burdensome. I agree with the staff comments on that one.
Now, staff say. Oh, I'm sorry, I am.
One, yeah, just one. One. I mean, I struggle at 3. I'm sorry, 4, maybe, again, that's where I always get hung up. But,
Factor 2, I have a question mark as well, because the comments say that granting variance would do justice to the applicant by allowing addition that could not otherwise be built. Could be built, it would just have to be smaller than what is being proposed, so. The applicant should maximize whatever they wrong. Don't agree that we could build an addition that satisfy equal. It's just what it is.
allow me an addition that can not otherwise be built. I feel like the addition could go west into the property. And still, they could gain square footage, but, that's not what's being proposed, but.
It can't because of that back corner, then they will not let me put a board wall any further into the wetlands.
Gotcha.
So that's exactly what I was gonna do, so they just wouldn't let us.
Got it. Oh, yeah, I see the, oh, yeah, just tell you right there. So,
6.
okay, and you've actually clipped to put an angle on the addition. On that figure, it looks like there's like a cutout.
Yes, yep,
So you're responding to that
yep,
whole area there
yep.
with that corner. Guess I don't understand that one. That comment from the staff. By allowing an addition that cannot otherwise be built. Due to Eagle, I think it's due to ordinances. Right? Or so.
Read it as saying, because they couldn't put that addition on. In any other location.
Yeah, they're
They're,
bound by,
it's what they want size wise. But. That there's no other location on the property for that addition. As opposed to any addition.
yeah, I just feel like, yeah, because of Eagle, they can't go west. Yeah, so they're pitched right here. We did not have any, your brother is the neighbor to your east, you said. We did not have any letters though, right? For this.
In the aerial, it looks like you store something between your property and the neighbor's property, between your house and property line. Trailer or something.
There was a boat lift sitting back there for a while, but that's gone now.
Looks like a large, right, whatever.
Yes.
Wait, can I see it?
Oh, our motorhome, that's all
Oh.
storage, that's in storage over.
Yeah, I had a motorhome
Outside.
sitting there for a while. I stored it at the place across from.
Just put it there over.
So you don't intend to store.
No.
New vehicles on the site.
Nope.
Guess now I feel. Yeah, I feel standard 2 is more complicated than 4 for me. Does anyone else have comments about this as well, or, I mean. Or other, arguments that we could. Apply to this, that help.
Sure, what are the three options?
Yeah,
One would be. To recognize it as a non-conforming lot as it is. And proving the request, knowing full well that there's issues down the line. Potential raise the subject head.
mhm.
Number two. Is the option force the applicant to purchase the additional property line footage. Number three would be to deny.
Or 4 could be. That they revise their,
Revise the
yeah,
square footage and stuff.
yeah. I'm just, yeah. Right. I think there's 4 options. For us.
How much property in this area is. Like what or is it not? Just like a common thing. Just that's.
I don't think it's especially common. We do see wetlands on parcels. We do see wetlands on parcels and we do see those limitations, but I wouldn't say that it's something that we review on a weekly or even monthly basis. In having wetlands, they're actually interfering with the structure. They're usually a little bit further back from the house, I would say.
Like I said, I can be in support of the rear. It's the side aspect of this for me that's more complicated, I guess. Yeah, to your point, Dennis, yeah, we either approve, deny, revise, or it's a partial adjustment, right? Those are. But I don't know if that's something, the last 2 that I just spoke of was maybe the third one. That'd be the agreement for a lesser relaxation, but that would mean complying with. Because we're only talking about, really when we get down to it, it's a foot and 1.26 feet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Plus 4 foot of it, not like 10 by 10 feet, it's just that little.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
Right.
Sounds minimal.
Mhm.
But it's story.
Right.
Yes.
Well, can we do one or the other, or is it both on this, Mika?
As far as the side versus the rear, yeah, you can treat those separately.
We can treat them separately. Let's start with the rear. And I'll make a motion to approve the rear yard setback. Okay. No, I would say I would adopt the staff comments for what I've seen listed for the rear yard setback motion. So we've got a motion and support. I guess, Lorna, if you would do a roll call for that.
Absolutely. Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Ms. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Cerny,
Yes.
Ms. Payne Nayak,
Yes.
Mr. Fleece.
Yes. Okay, so that approves our rear yard setback. And which takes us to the side yard setback. Same set of standards. you know, I don't know, there might be mixed consensus here, but I mean, I guess I'd entertain a motion, or if we need to talk more, let's talk a little bit more.
Mr. Chairman, is the applicant willing to make any accommodations?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to?
So, yeah, like we talked about, like the biggest thing is from looking at it, you know, it is what it is, but it's gonna have a bump in the beginning of it, so whatever, yeah, that's the, you know, it's not that much square footage what we're talking about. It's, for me, the look down the side and being able to start square off the side of the house, it's just gonna have a weird little bump, which is not the end of the world. But if I could, I
Proposing that we could just cut off, like right at where the extra is, we just.
we also talked about an overhang up top, like put the, you know, have the poured wall a foot in and then have the upstairs have a foot overhang. I don't know if that's something you'd entertain. If that makes any difference.
It doesn't make a difference as far as it's setbacks.
Okay.
For the zoning, yeah.
My only, I would have no problem going through, jumping through all the hoops to move the lot line, buy a piece from my brother also to get, to make this happen. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is that give him a reassessment on his property value and everything? Cause that's what I was told, and that's what he doesn't want.
I don't, I'm not gonna be able to answer that.
Yeah, I
for
think
you.
that would be an assessor question. I'd be going
Okay.
too far on a limb.
Cause otherwise it's a non-issue. I can buy, you know, we can just move on from it. If we get the rear one, then we can make it work how we have to from there.
Yeah,
That's not there.
But, okay.
Would you
just
guys
asking.
propose then for that last corner to just be on the angle of the 10-foot variance?
so what you'd have to do is start at your existing corner, right?
And then do
And then it would be a.
And that would be square.
To keep it square, you offset and bring it in to where you land on the 10 foot down below, down to the south, just like your existing condition would be.
That's what I'm saying, like a little, where, like literally the very back
Yeah,
corner, that 4 foot by 1.2, whatever you guys.
Yeah,
What if we just literally right there, cut the line in our drawings?
I mean, to me,
It's a staircase, so.
you are. Your existing corner right now is already exactly, looks like
There.
maxed out, so.
Yep.
As soon as you start, you're not conforming,
yep,
you know, you'd be asking for a variance, so I'd say you either angle the entire wall.
yeah.
To be
Yeah.
10 feet,
Yes, which would be weird and.
which would be weird.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you take that straight line that you currently have and just bring the whole
In.
wall in,
It's just a little.
Yeah,
yeah. The entire face of.
Right,
the
yes,
addition.
starting at the
Your
wall-
east face is.
existing
yep,
house.
starting at the addition, yep. Yep,
A double mirror, oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But would we be able to catapult above though? Like
no,
we have in the existing?
no, the only reason we can go above it.
Yep.
Up on the back is because that's the wetland, the DEQ allows that. Okay.
Right, it's just where that east face lands.
Yep.
If it's pulled back.
Okay.
It works, but.
My biggest thing is time. As soon as we're doing this, because we've been
Mhm.
trying to get all of our stuff ready since we got DEQs or Eagles permit approved in spring. And our 1.5-year-old is sleeping in our room still. And that's like, we're just,
Sure,
the, so timing, so to get new plans drawn up and I know that's all everything that you have to do, but that's our biggest issue is time. So we're willing to
Yeah.
do whatever, but to wait another month to get the next approval.
Hmm.
And then the next approval and then whatever else there needs to be, that's.
Yep.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to wait till January 5 meeting. That's okay. It's one of my biggest things then.
For a side one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can figure that out, whether you wanna, adjust the property line or you
Okay,
just move with the addition.
okay.
Okay.
If you're, if we remove or, right, redact the application for this side yard setback.
Yeah, I think that they can either withdraw it or you can deny it. I think those would be the options.
Yeah.
What What would you like to do? Would you like us to move forward?
Could you guys either approve or deny it then? I mean, like,
We
is-
can't approve or deny, that's
Yeah.
our option. of
Sure,
course.
sure, just,
Or you can withdraw it and then you can work on those two, the two items we talked about, either moving the house face of the east side in
Yep.
to comply or moving the property line over to comply.
Okay. I mean, so if we withdraw that, that's probably the best way to go right now.
aesthetically,
Yes.
neither of the, okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just withdraw the side setback for now and
Okay. All right, so we'll take note that the applicant has withdrawn the request for the side yard variance request.
Minutes will show.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, guess that wraps up our item 2. Thank you for your help and feedback and working through that. Thank you. Okay. So that brings us to the next item on our agenda. I see use variance discussion.
Yes, isn't this exciting? This is on your agenda because I've been having conversations with a short-term rental owner who's indicated that they may be interested in pursuing a use variance. I don't know if you've ever had a use variance here. They're really unusual. A lot of places, townships don't have them. You have to have already had one permitted by your zoning ordinance. And I don't know what year it was, 2006 or whenever the revision was done of the legislation. So a lot of townships aren't able to do use variances. Use variances are something that should be very, very seldom and very carefully used because functionally they're kind of like a rezoning of a single property, or they can be. And so what you're really looking for, the good of a use variance is that there are times when your zoning ordinance may not allow any functional use of the property. And then you're put in a situation, and we're actually probably going to be discussing that as well in January. You're put in a situation where you may have a takings claim. So a takings claim being governmental regulations have made it so that a property doesn't have any economic benefit for the property owner. If that's the case, then a use variance may be appropriate. This isn't that situation, or it's very hard to find that situation. So what you're looking for in a use variance is there absolutely no way that this property can be used without this kind of variance? So it's different than a dimensional variance. It's a little bit of a bigger deal than a dimensional variance. So I included some information on it that I had just found and printed out for you, just to get a little bit of a background so that it's something familiar. And if it comes up, you'll be ready to discuss it. So the question that came up was, within a residential area, making this use variance request, saying I would like the use variance so I can continue a short-term rental use in this residential area. And I think that just on the face of it, without going into any of the details of a particular application, because of course every application would be different, if you have an existing single-family home that wouldn't qualify for a use variance because you do already have that functional use, that economic return on the property. So generally that's not something that would qualify for a use variance, but we don't. When I talk to applicants, and when Lorna talks to applicants, we'll talk to them about do we think that what are the merits of your application? Is this something that you should even consider? Or, we try not to, people can always make an application, but we try to let them know, hey, this is really unlikely to be approved. And so, that's the messaging that we're sending, but you are the decision makers. And so if there's an application for something like that, then it would come before you and it would be a point of conversation. So just wanted to bring up the topic, tell you about this thing that exists and what the application of it could potentially be. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
So it'd be like, but you said like a residential condition isn't permitted to be anything else, so we wouldn't have any say in whether it could be, let's say if they want to have a residential residentially classified or zoned parcel that wants to be commercial.
Mhm. That's a little, yeah, so that's a little bit different. So then you're actually talking about, that would be a rezoning request.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so a lot of times if somebody's saying, hey, I want to do a use variance, that would be more appropriate. But we try to avoid that spot rezoning so that a particular lot in an area is different than everything else that's around it. You're looking for some kind of continuity and flow between the zoning districts.
and they would have to show like all the hardships
Mhm.
behind that reasoning as to why they're bringing
Yeah.
it forward or.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is already existing as a short.
Yes, it's not a new one.
And the township ordinance does specifically authorize use variance.
It does. It does. Yeah, it's, I think it might be 3871. It's right next to the non-use variances. We just never use that one. So
Hmm.
it does have an existing set of standards there as well.
Does, and you agree with you that you have a single family home that can be occupied as a single family home. It would be very difficult to establish for use or another type of residential.
Yeah. Yeah, and if Crystal, if you had any other comments on use variances in general, if you've seen them before. Mhm.
Or more oftentimes you would see a conditional rezoning, which is custom from the property owner. To say, for example, let's say a commercial building and they want to use it for a dog kennel, but dog kennels don't be allowed in a different commercial district, but they can propose that their property be rezoned specifically for that use. However, uses in that district, just that those conditions, it's essentially them coming to the township and saying, this is what I'd like to do, these are all the things I'm to do to restrict the use. That's a voluntary type of thing, unless we use.
What's that, what kind of variance is that conditional, and it only doesn't stay with the property
It does.
forever?
It can, but it can also be limited duration. The difficulty with those is that everything's come from the property. So if they come forward to the township with a post agreement, then the township can suggest that for additional conditions or restrictions, but everything's. So it's. But the use variance really is intended for a situation where you have a property that has no use as it sits. So.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I can see it, like if you're surrounded by, you know, something that's zoned a different way than what you are, and you're on an island, and you're like, why am I
Mhm.
here? I should be part of this group.
Yeah, and in that case, you would most likely have a pretty good argument for a rezoning request. And
Yeah.
most likely the future land use map in that area would reflect, hey, we're trying to
Yeah.
make this a little bit more consistent.
Hmm.
So
Can't wait.
FYI,
What's that?
FYI.
Yeah, okay. So that's something coming in January, you said?
No, we have another application in January, which I think is going to be interesting. That has quite a few limitations on the property. And so, well, that's something that I'll probably pull in legal counsel on. I don't know if he'll be at the meeting or not, but just to discuss quite a bit more to say, if you've got 8 sets of standards that you don't meet, but what else are you going to do with the property? Well, then what's the appropriate move for the zoning board of appeals? So.
That's one of the ones I'm gonna be going for.
Lucky
It's frightening.
you.
Yeah, look at this.
Planned that well.
I didn't think that was gonna happen. Sounds very interesting. Shoot. Okay,
And thanks for the handout, that was really.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay, public comment time, so I'm gonna open it up to anyone attending tonight. If you're willing and need to approach and talk, you can. You can do it now. No? Doesn't look like we have any takers, so I'll close public comment. And our next meeting is scheduled for, January 5. So outside of that, we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Fleet.
Yes.
You're gonna be gone on January 5.
Yes.
Others should be done. Okay,
I'll be here.
very good. Okay.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? Okay, so moved. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.